Just about as our show yesterday was taking place, DC was dealing with the threat of an somewhat unspecified bomb. We knew an individual was being approached by law enforcement. That situation has now been resolved, and we want to give you all of the details that you need to know about that, especially considering that as of this morning, I went looking for updates and coverage and all that, and there's seemingly nothing. So another bar has been passed in the US. You can have a bomb threat in the Capitol and it's news for like a day, and then that's it. Well, anyway, here's what happened. Floyd Roy Roseberry allegedly parked his truck near the Library of Congress and shared his extremist views in a rambling anti-government diatribe, which he beamed to thousands of viewers on Facebook and which has since been removed from the site. In the live stream, Mr. Roseberry said he aimed to start a revolution and spoke ominously of other patriots who had joined the cause. Now understand that while his stream has been taken down, videos from it are everywhere. I'm not gonna play any. I go back and forth on this sometimes, not interested in getting his stuff out directly, but I do want you to understand the sort of political ideology and some of the other related things that might have inspired this attempted or at least alleged act of domestic terrorism. US Capitol Police reported that a bomb was not recovered from the truck, but possible bomb-making materials were collected after his arrest. We're awaiting more specific information about that. In his live stream, Roseberry indicated several times that there were 4 other explosives sitting around this town, but that he didn't know where they were because we all came in different ways. He claimed his toolbox was full of ammonium nitrate, which has been used previously by generally white supremacist domestic terrorists here in the United States. If there is any truth to the other bombs or the other individuals, I have seen nothing about those people being found or any threats being made. We'll see if there's some update there. We're gonna give you more information about his background and all of that. But Brett, what are your thoughts about this?
Watching the videos, you can see that this, like, it's just so strange because there's a couple things. First, you look at, like, it's some dude saying that the South has come to DC. And you hear that kind of talk and you're like, this is some kind of racist thing. But then you just realize that he has read every conflicting but thematically linked Facebook post / claim that you can fathom. And it has convinced him generically that something terrible is happening and Joe Biden is somehow responsible for it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't seem like he's drugged up or anything. He's just wildly deluded on either drugged up on copium, but watching him try to put together these like very grave sounding deep threats, but it's just like, if you shoot me, this thing's gonna blow up. I want to see my wife on Sunday.
Yeah,
it's like, buddy, yeah, you're not gonna go home on Sunday, even if you survive this. You can't do this. Like, who? And it is playing out on every possible front right now. The way that people go to social media for disinformation and then act on it in ways that are just nonsensical, but also like deadly.
Yeah,
to kill people, to kill himself, and then especially with like vaccination and mask mandates and everything. We're in a really bad spot.
I agree. There's massive disconnects. The internal consistency isn't there. There seems to be some thread of Joe Biden can do X or give me Y that isn't stated, that causes the bomb not to go off, but it isn't a part of his rants. So who knows? And who knows if it was even capable of exploding? I mean, that isn't clear at this point. But you mentioned the copium and all that, so we're gonna get to a bit more of the politics of this. Old videos on his Facebook page show he participated in at least one rally to overturn Joe Biden's 2020 election victory, the MAGA March, which did not include 1 million people. That was back on November 14th. And understand, there had been, like, after January 6th, there were these warnings put out that people who are still mad about the results of the election could individually or in groups commit future acts of violence. And there haven't been a ton, But in April, a man, if you recall, rammed a vehicle into a barricade outside the northern entrance of the Capitol, which killed a US Capitol police officer and injured another. Now we have this individual, supposedly 4 others, although I'm guessing those are fictitious at this point based off of what else we know. But we also know about this individual that Roseberry's wife said her husband left North Carolina last night on a purported fishing trip. She said her husband, who she said voted for Trump, had been upset with the result of the 2020 election. She also said that he was struggling with mental health issues and recently changed medication. And there are references in his videos to not being able to get medication or losing health insurance and things like that. So look, as is generally the case, there is a mix of sort of strictly partisan stuff with some ties to vague conspiracy theories, but also potential issues with mental health. So yeah, it's the sort of mix, unfortunately, we're growing accustomed to. And thankfully, at least in this case, nobody lost their life.
Yeah. It's just so difficult. Like, you want solutions to your problem. First of all, you're gonna have to tell me what is your threshold for evidence, period, in the world, buddy. Like, what is it gonna take to convince you that Joe Biden won this election? Tell me, can you tell me? No one can tell us because they just want to be right about it. So already we're not in a discussion. And that's very frustrating. And then the other thing is, like, I have a solution to your problem of losing health coverage, and it's single payer, it's Medicare for all. And unfortunately, there are people outside of you who have convinced you that there is something socialist and terrible about that, even though it's working better in other countries. And you like socialism, you like the police, you like the fire department. But I don't understand what is between you guys and just coming to terms with there's a policy that works in other countries where they pay half as much per person and live longer. And you can get your medication when you need your medication without having to be employed during a pandemic, as your political movement struggles to, quote, reopen stuff in ways that end up making it more difficult to go back to normal in the long run. And that's another theme, is this instant gratification, which is hilarious coming from a religious right whose entire life is supposed to be predicated on delayed gratification. They want to know, they want to go back to work, they want to do this now, as opposed to just putting on a mask, staying away from people until we can get this under control. Instead of something that they also fetishize, which is just some massive problem, these deaths that are out there. Or at worst, they resort back to this myth ideology, which is baked into religion, that like, oh, this is all just a myth. The real myth is my God myth.
Yeah. Well, look, I agree. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.